Today, I'm going to be explaining 6 different cooking methods. I'm going to be going over 2 heat methods, 2 moist methods, and 2 combination methods. So for dry heat methods, the first one is sauteing. So sauteing is a dry heat cooking method that uses a small amount of oil in a shallow pan over a medium to high heat. And the food usually that's cooked this way is like small cut, so the pieces are cooked evenly and quickly, so like diced up veggies or meat or stuff like that. Sauteing, it cooks quickly because it uses the direct contact with the hot surface. It creates browning, which adds flavor, and this browning happens as a chemical reaction between the proteins and the sugars when exposed to high heat. The second dry heat method is baking. Baking instead of a direct contact with a hot pan on a stove, baking uses hot air that's encased in an oven. In the food, they're surrounded by constant heat. To bake something, you would want to preheat the oven to a specific temperature. Then you would place the food in a oven-safe dish and cook it for a set amount of time. Baking is good for foods that need steady and even cooking. A lot of examples for this is breads, cakes, casseroles, and chicken. Baking allows this heat to penetrate the food slowly and cook evenly, which is important for foods that need to rise or cook all the way through. So now I'm going to be talking about moist cooking methods. And the first one for this one is boiling. Boiling happens when the water reaches 212 degrees Fahrenheit and has large bubbles rapidly breaking the surface. To boil food, you would want to fill a pot with water and heat it until it reaches a rolling boil. Then you add the food and cook it until it is tender. Most foods that you would boil would be pasta, or potatoes, or eggs, stuff like that. However, boiling can also sometimes cause vegetables to lose their nutrients if they're cooked too long in there, because some vitamins tend to dissolve when it's in water. And the second method is steaming. Steaming is another moist heat method, but instead of placing the food directly inside of the water, it's placed above boiling water. And then the steam rises and the food cooks gently. To steam, you bring water to a boil, then you place the food in a basket or a rack above the water and cover it with a lid. Steaming helps the food retain its nutrients, but it does not have it sit in water, which puts it at risk of losing its nutrients. And common foods that are steamed are vegetables, rice, and fish. Steaming is also considered one of the healthiest ways of cooking. And now I will be talking about combination methods. So the first one is called braising. And braising is used for higher or tougher cuts of meat. Firstly, the food needs to be seared in a hot pan with a small amount of oil, and this is a dry heat step which creates flavor and browning. Next, with liquids such as broth or wine is added and the pot is covered and the food cooks slowly at a low temp. This is the moist heat step. Braising works well because it combines flavor development and browning with a slow cooking in liquid. The slow cooking process breaks down the connective tissue, making the food tender. An example of this is braised foods include pot roast and or short ribs. And the next is stewing. So now stewing is similar to braising, but in some ways it's different. In stewing, the food is cut into smaller pieces and completely covered with a lid, and the food cooks slowly at a low simmer for a long time because everything is submerged, so then the flavors are able to blend together throughout the process of cooking. Stewing is commonly used for dishes like beef or chicken or stew. This is ideal for tougher meats and vegetables because the long cooking time takes time to make them soft and flavorful. And so, just in conclusion, I discussed 6 different cooking methods: 2 dry, 2 moist, and 2 combination. The dry is sauteing and baking. These use air or fat and not involve water, I mean, excuse me. And I did 2 moist heat methods, which were boiling and steaming. These use water and steam to cook the food. And 2 combination methods were talked about were braising and stewing. Both use dry and moist heat to create good flavorful results. Each cooking method affects the flavor, the texture, and the nutrition differently. And understanding all these different things allows you to cook whatever meat or veggie at the right using the right technique, cooking it so that you will end up having a good meal. So this concludes the cooking method demonstration video.